Welcome to the Tech Rome 387 podcast. My name is David Rogoski. I'm one of the partners here with Tech 387, and I am delighted to have Nick Cappello join me today from 404 Ninjas. He is the co-founder and CEO, and we are excited to be working with him and to hear his story. So, Nick, welcome to the podcast.
Hey David, thanks a lot, man. This is a great opportunity for me here. I love working with your team, and now I get to know a little bit more about you, and you get to know a little bit more about me here. So I'm really looking forward to this.
Love it. All right. Well, I guess to get started, why don't you introduce yourself to our audience, a little bit about your story, background, and maybe how everything evolved into starting 404 Ninjas.
Okay, my name is Nick Cappello. I originally grew up in a little suburb outside of Chicago, and I started working right out of college with Amoco Oil. I've always been that kind of kid. You can take like a puzzle and you can put it in front of me, and it's one of those things where it says solve in 4 to 8 months. I'll get it solved in like 2 weeks. I'm the kind of kid that sees the patterns in pretty much everything, and if you really think about it, all a computer is a set of patterns that need to be put together and have them work together in harmony. So that's what got me started in this whole thing. I was working with Amoco Oil right out of the gate here after college, and I learned a lot of good things on what to do and what not to do in a help desk type of situation. But I also learned how to act within a corporate environment. I learned the processes of a corporate environment, and I learned everything from the best. I actually got really lucky that way. It was that started the idea. Just planted that little seed in the head. Then I went to work with Coca-Cola afterwards, and I saw how another multinational company, at that point in time, worldwide company, was able to do it. And I took all that information. And then basically the recession of 2000 happened, and I realized that, I had to get a big boy job, because when I was working with Coca-Cola, I was working as just a plain old computer consultant. Just a guy that sat there specialized. I was one thing. I was a network technician at the time, and, nothing else. So, I realized that, hey, there's got to be something bigger out there. There's got to be something better. So as I was working, for some other companies and stuff after Coca-Cola let me go, I realized that, all these companies that I'm doing this work for, I can pretty much set it up myself, work for them, save them money, and also basically kind of get a little cabal of companies together and have them working together as well. So that's what really sparked the inclination for 404 Ninjas. After my latest stint in healthcare, I realized that I'm not getting any younger, as you see. So I decided to go ahead and embark on 404 Ninjas, which is now Atlanta's newest MSP.
So I will say I think you dated yourself twice now, the gray hair and then the recession of 2000. I think gives us a hint that you've been around for a little while.
Oh, yep. Over 25 years in this business.
I love it. So you've worked for some pretty enormous companies with presumably some fairly sophisticated, networks and, computer, networks. And so I guess you've had a chance to learn how everything really, really works. And it sounds like through that process, you figured out that certain things are done they're either done inefficiently, or maybe there's a better way to configure things, or different ways in which to optimize the setup so that you can ultimately help save companies money. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that is 100% fair to say. I mean, basically, everything can be boiled down into its base level. So you have, like for instance, let's go with the network. You have the user, you have the computer, you have the actual switch itself, you have the wiring, and you have the firewall, and you have the internet. 7 basic things that you've got. They will always be in every single configuration, no matter what you do. So if you build for, I'm going to use perfection, but notice that I'm using the air quotes. If you build for perfection around those 7 tenets, you can adapt anything to anybody, anywhere. It just, this is why 404 Ninjas is able to tailor make a solution to your particular company, because we take those 7 tenets into consideration, and we know, I mean, we know how to work those things. That's, you know, that's neither here nor there. It's always going to be a consistent thing. But how do we adapt those 7 tenets to mom and pop that are making little, you know, dog treats and stuff like that, all the way up to a manufacturing company that's manufacturing springs or uh, vehicle parts, or you know, they could even be doing uh, they could even be doing programming, yeah, or anything like that. How do we adapt that? And we adapt that by learning about our customers.
So this would be called a managed service provider. That's what you are. Is that correct?
Correct. It's, I mean, at its basic thing, we do the 7 tenets of it. But a managed service provider goes a little bit further than just going ahead and doing those 7 tenets, because if it's maintenance and stuff that you need, anybody can do it. You can have a person sitting down in that office that's going to be able to do it. But where we excel in this is, as a managed service provider, we're on top of every bit of the technology. We have our ear to the ground. We know when the next cyber attack is probably going to be coming up. We know how to combat that cyber attack, but we also know how to do it at your scale, not at my scale. So with that, the advantage to having a managed service provider is the fact that you have now access to unlimited resources. You would come to me and say, "Hey, Nick, you did a great job, you know, getting our network up and running and stuff like that. I need a better manufacturing process for making the widget for this particular car." And I'm like, "Okay, well, you know, let's go ahead and take a look at, you know, let's take a look at what's in place. Let's take a look at how you're doing it. Okay, I see this, and this. Let me talk to a couple people. Let me go ahead and ask some questions. Let me work within the software. Let's see what we can do to engineer you a process." That is the true power of a managed service provider, because we understand your business. And when we understand your business, we can pull from other MSPs, we can pull from other buddies, we can pull from a whole bunch of different things and say, "Hey, this is going to be your best, this is going to be your best effort here." Whereas if you hire somebody that sits there, $5, you know, $5 says he knows everything about that particular industry, he knows about that particular network, or he knows something just about that particular, you know, item that he's working with. But he probably knows a little bit about, you know, everything else, but he doesn't have the reach that we have. He doesn't have the, you know, he doesn't have the credentials that we have. He doesn't have the cachet that we've got. So that's what a managed service provider really brings to the table here, is expertise, but also we've got tendrils till all day.
Yeah. So you having this experience with some of these Fortune 50 companies, you have been exposed to some enormously complex structures and networks, and so you had this unique ability to kind of see the big picture, to see holistically what a solution would look like, as opposed to just one individual piece of it. So what about now? Please forgive me if this is a little bit of a naive question, because this is certainly not my forte, what you do. But I do know that people like Amazon have huge cloud networks out there, and there's all of these different softwares that are available that you can just plug into through APIs, and it seems like the environment has changed. How does your business model as an MSP, how is it impacted by these technologies, and do you integrate them as part of your model? Like how does all that work?
So remember how in the first part I talked about the 7 tenets of a thing? That's just changing one of the small components of that 7 tenets. Instead of being on site for the servers and on site for some of this stuff, it's off in somebody else's server room. It's not in yours. So basically you just go ahead and you work around that little hiccup, quote unquote, and you've got it. I mean, basically all it is taking, again, that formula
and adapting it to that situation. And your MSP needs to be nimble enough to be able to handle that. And thankfully, since I've been working when I started working with Amico, we were still on a DOS-based system. Windows was just coming out and stuff like that. So I was able to see all that progression and things like that. I was working with mainframes. I was working with all that. So I mean, you can try to hit me with something that I haven't seen. It probably won't work, but if it does, if you do happen to hit me with something that I haven't seen, thankfully I can use my mind and I can have resources and I can adapt to that particular thing. So when people started migrating out to the cloud, that was just a minor change in the way that we do things. So instead of just having the on-site package, we have the off-site package, that we can go ahead and do. And then the best part to us is that we don't have to maintain that particular box. We just go ahead and if something happens, we call Amazon, or we go ahead through their chat service, or we call Microsoft or go through their chat service. But the bad part is if something happens, we don't have the machine here. So we're reliant on somebody else to take care of that particular machine. And hopefully they'll take our issue at a high priority. That's the only downside realistically to having a cloud-based system rather than an on-premise or hybrid-based system.
So it really doesn't impact your business in terms of the overall structure and the way you manage everything. It's just like you said, one of the pillars is slightly different, and you adapt to it. Now, clearly, what you do can enormously benefit large organizations and medium-sized companies. In your experience, how small, how small can a company be where you would still be able to add value, would you say?
They could be a 2-person company. I could still add value. I'm a picky person when it comes to my clients. A lot of people, they'll just go like, okay, let's go ahead and let's just take them. Their money's green. If you've got a 2-person outfit, but I see that you're going ahead and you're adding a value to the community at large, or you're adding a value to the world at large, I'm going to take you on. Money's not going to be the best part of it, but that's not the only reason why I do this, David. I feel a need to, as my father and my mother really instilled in me, I feel a need to leave the world a little bit better, than I came into it. So if they're doing better, I want to help them do better. But but talking from a real economical standpoint, my ideal client basically has about 10 machines, and they're doing something for the betterment of society. They're either doing law, they're doing accounting, they're doing maintenance, they're doing manufacturing. I mean, you name it. As long as they've got a nice little user base to them, economically, that is my quote unquote ideal client. There. But if you've got a little mom and pop that are doing, I'll take you on any day of the week. And I don't care. And I don't care if I have to suffer a little bit of a loss, time wise or whatever. If I believe in what you're doing, I'm going to take you on as my client, because when I believe in you, you get the absolute best that I have to offer. And the best that I have to offer, just you wait. Just you wait and see.
Well, I mean, if you can help them have the infrastructure in place so that they can grow, and you like their idea and it resonates with you, you think it has potential, like you said, that 2-person operation may become a 200-person operation within a couple of years. And so I can see why you would selectively, look at all business sizes. That makes sense. So you've got all this experience. You felt like, why not go out on your own, have more control, have the ability to have more control specifically about the holistic picture to really, really maximize the value that you can add for a company. You decided to start 404 Ninjas, and then how did you meet us at Tech 387, and what prompted you to kind of start with us as a partnership?
It was really funny. I'm sitting there doom scrolling at night, going through all my little reels and stuff like that. Then I saw Tech 387, And I was getting ready to pass you guys up. Then I'm like, wait a minute. So I went back and I took a look at what you guys were really offering. You were offering a package that to a startup is pretty much a very, how can I put it? It's a no-brainer to go ahead and want to sign up with y'all. You have a lot of experience behind you over there at Tech 387. You have people like you, David, that are, interested in people like me, that are just starting out, or you have interest in people that have, have a larger base and have had some experience within, but they don't know how to adapt to this whole thing. They can't scale, they can't grow. So, or they don't know how to advertise or anything like that. That's where you and Tech 387, I mean, Arslan and Dennis and the entire team there, they have done so much for our company. I could sit here and I can take up the next 5 hours talking about just what a difference your company has done for us. But we're in a little bit of a time restraint here. But in a nutshell, what you provide is knowledge. You provide a structure. You provide ideas. But with those three main things, I mean, there's a lot more. I mean, if I had 10 hands, I probably couldn't come up with enough. But those three big parts of it, it's not like it's cut in stone. I can make a suggestion to you guys to be like, well, over here we see a little bit more, push in this area. You guys will sit there and you'll do your research on it and you'll adapt to that particular thing, but you adapt to it in a way that I couldn't even begin to fathom on how to do it. I mean, I'm good at what I do. I mean, I'm one of the best around. But as far as like when it comes to internet marketing and stuff like that, no, I forget who it was, but there's a saying that said the smartest man in the world surrounds himself with much smarter people. David, that's you. And Tech 387. So like I said, as I'm doing my due diligence and stuff like that, you guys, I mean, it's realistically a no-brainer to get in touch with Tech 387 and that team. They're great at what they do. I mean, take a look at the website. The website I had before was pretty much anemic. I mean, it was good. You could go there, you could do your basic things, but the website now tells a little bit more of my story. It's a little bit easier to get into a meeting with me and stuff like that. And it's a lot friendlier for today's technology.
Well, we paid you for that plug, so thanks for delivering on that. No, thank you for the kind words. We appreciate it. Basically, your expertise is in designing and managing networks for companies of any size, and not that you say that you don't have any business experience or any marketing experience, but there's places where you felt like you needed help. So I guess it sounds like we were in a position to be able to help you a little bit with getting started with the marketing and the branding, and then setting up your application and your business model so that you could scale it at some point in the future. So we've been with you, gosh, it's been like 4 or 5 months now that we've been working together.
I mean, what we're getting right now is what we need to be getting. I've been a name in Atlanta for 20 plus years, but I've been a name. My company has not. So, people are like, hey, who are you working with? Well, I just started my own company. The word of mouth goes about the speed of snail. But with you guys, I'm getting the exposure on LinkedIn. I'm getting the exposure on Instagram, Facebook, the whole 9 yards. People are seeing. I mean, I just went ahead today and took a look at some of the videos that you guys went ahead. And by the way, your video team and stuff like that, fantastic. I mean, these guys take my words and make them look like, Robert De Niro has said them and stuff. So that's really, really cool. I'm taking a look and there's a whole bunch of views. There's people, going through and stuff like that. They're filling out the forms and things. It's really incredibly to see that. If I were to try and do that by myself, I'd still be sitting there going, okay, so I've got to click here and then do this and that and this and that. You guys came in off the bat, boom, you knew what to do. You took the best part is, David, is that you personally, as well as Arslan and Dennis, you took the time to get to know me and my partner Mario, who unfortunately couldn't be with us today. He had another assignment that he had to work on, but you took us as a thing, and you said, okay, this is 404 Ninjas right here. And you took our models, you took our personalities, and you were able to spin it into a campaign that is, slowly but surely being incredibly successful. I'm gonna tell you, and I'm gonna tell everybody else out there right now, is that success isn't measured with anybody in an instant. You're gonna have everybody saying, "Oh yeah, in 60 days we'll get you to the #1 in Google, or we'll get you on, the first page in the For You pages in TikTok." Blah 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 blah. If somebody can do that, I would really, 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 really like to see the proof of it. But success has come with you guys. I've gotten a lot of people coming through, and success to me is measured in that person that clicks that little type form or clicks that little Calendly link and says, "Hey, let's set up something." And after about 2 months of tuning and twisting and turning and stuff like that, because like you said, this is we're a new entity to you. You're used to like the app people, you're used to working with programmers, you're used to working with people that deliver solid materials. We are a service industry, and we're kind of like the first one that you guys have had. And I'm glad that we can help you guys, with that. I'm glad to be your first as far as that's concerned. But I got to tell you, you guys keep hitting it out of the park. No matter what I throw at you, you guys always have an answer for it.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that. I know we're working hard on getting some traction right now. Can you summarize sort of the last 4 or 5 months, what the process was? And
first month is what I like to call the honeymoon phase, getting to know you, getting to know all about you. And so they dig into your company. They ask you, a whole bunch of questions. They ask you branding questions. What is your main function? What is your mission statement? What is, that you do? What's your ideal client? There's like a laundry list of everything that they do. And then they sit there and they build you a brand slowly but surely. Like for instance, with our colors, our logo. By the way, our logo unfortunately was not made by you guys. It was made by my oldest friend, Lisa Line. But you were able to integrate that into your plans, and get the coloring for that, get all the schema around it. And like I said, that's what I mean when I say that you guys are adaptive and you're receptive to a lot of ideas. As you can see, that's her work right there. So this little logo here has helped start an entire business. You guys took the logo, you guys took the name, and you built the coloring scheme around it. You built the branding around it. You took our story on basically, why. So I'm going to kind of rewind a little bit of time here and explain why the 404 Network Ninjas are named the 404 Network Ninjas. And this is one of the things, as you said, you used. So in month 1, I explained what we were. So 404 is actually an error page that you see whenever you get a website that's either down or you mistype a page or something like that. So that's a 404 error. But also, because we're here in Atlanta, our area code is 404. So you got that little double meaning in there. And the Ninja, his original thing was he was paid to watch over a certain fiefdom, a county, a town, a house, or an empire. So that's his job, is to do that job, but do that job in the background. Don't let me know about it. Just make sure things are done, make sure we're protected, make sure everything is done. So like a ninja, we come in and we protect you, but we also make sure that everything is secure, everything is working properly. We, and we help where we can, as a true ninja did way back when. So that's where that whole ninja concept came into effect here. And once you guys heard that entire story, the way that you designed our particular branding, and the way that you designed our little reels and stuff like that, that's where that was born. And then month number 2 was, okay, how do we take this concept that we've just done and tweak it to make it better? And that was more of the okay, this one isn't working, this one is working, let's go ahead and do that. And then we went into, okay, this is working, how do we keep this working, how do we move this forward, what do we need to do, what campaigns can we spawn from this? I mean, you guys have just had an idea for every single part of it. So as the months progressed on, so month number 2, we started the campaigns. Month number 3, we went ahead and we emphasized those campaigns. We did a little more. I mean, right now, thanks to you guys, I actually have a ebook out now on how to be a road warrior, as I call them, but still maintain a level of cybersecurity out there. And that was all helped to, thanks to you guys. You gave me the inspiration for it. I wrote the book, and you guys went ahead and did your magic, made it look really good. And again, that's a power that you guys have that I don't.
I love it. I love it. So part of the goal here is to create your brand, build some awareness around it. Make you the industry thought leader that you are, to kind of get more visibility around that. So basically, we spent some time with branding, and then built the landing page and a website, mobile application. We went through and designed a lead funnel. We started doing some digital marketing with a type form, and which leads into interviews or introductions with you and Mario. And that's where we are right now. I know we're working on traction. So with the whole process, I know, there's always hiccups and bumps in the road, like in every partnership. And what kind of challenges have you had to endure so far in terms of getting up and running?
The success to failure ratio. Right now, it's, here's failure, here's success. But success is not down here. Success is actually here. So this failure is what I like to call an opportunity to learn. So we know why we failed here, and we know why we succeeded here. So eventually, thanks to you guys and thanks to me, we'll kind of even out a little bit, and it's, you guys make it incredibly easy to have that learning curve go from here to here as quickly as possible, because you guys are seeing things that I'm not, and I'm seeing things that you're not as well. And we work so well in synergy that it's like we've known each other literally, for about 40-50 years already. We just work that well together. And to find a company that can actually do that from month number 2, that's damn near impossible. That is damn near impossible. You guys really need to understand just how beneficial it was for me to be able to help you guys and you to be able to help us. The fact that you guys are very receptive to all the changes, the fact that you guys are as intelligent as you are in the marketing scheme, and also, we haven't even touched on this part yet. You guys are going to help us get some funding and stuff soon. Once we get that traction, then we go into the funding stages and stuff like that. Once that happens, you guys are going to be some of our saviors. I mean, every single person on Tech 387 is an honorary ninja. I mean, that's just because you guys come into our business and you fix stuff that we don't even know about. And your job is to protect my company and make sure that it's working well. So again, every single one of you guys embrace that ninja-esque type of mentality.
So what's your business model right now? How are you and sort of tell us about your target ideal client and how you're going to make money off of them.
Okay, so the business model right now is I have a set of packages. So I've got a real basic package, which is the monitoring package. So if you're a small company that doesn't need a lot of help, but you need to make sure that your machines are up and working, I've got a very simple package that goes ahead and does that. It has antivirus, it has an anti-malware on it, and it has our particular little ninja icon on there that goes ahead and runs some scripts on your computer to make sure that it's updated, patched, and that's running at its peak efficiency. Now, we not only do that on the actual workstation, if you've got an actual server or something on premise, we do that. So that's the basic one. And then from there, we go into the growth, the professional, and the enterprise packages. The growth is for like a small to medium company, anywhere between 10 and 50 employees, computers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's a little bit more involved because you've got a server somewhere, whether it's in the cloud or on premise. You need to have some way to back that up. So with every one of those packages, one way that we stand out is we do not offer a package to anybody above the monitoring that does not have backup in it. Everybody always takes that for granted. They're like, oh, it's up in the cloud, it's automatically backed up. Why do I need to pay for a backup? That CrowdStrike issue that happened just recently, that's one of the reasons why you need a backup on your premises, sitting right here, right next to you in a little box, kind of like this little guy right here, a little bit taller, but you need something there. So in case something does happen and your world goes, the outside world goes to heck, you have all of your data safe. It's right there. Whereas if you just relied on everything being in the cloud or something like that, and you can't access it, you're dead in the water. So that's why every single package above the monitoring package comes with its own on-site backup system. Because there's nothing, you're only as good as your last backup. That's the easiest way to put it. But we also go ahead in those packages and we do exactly what I've said from the beginning. We work with you to take your systems, make them work more efficiently. And I'm not talking about just some like performance on the computers and all that. We take your processes. Like there was a clinic out here in Cartersville. I took their processes and I'm like, okay, this is way too complicated. But let's cut this, slice here, move here, make this form look like this, and all that. And I was able to go ahead and make that process a heck of a lot quicker, heck of a lot easier, and a heck of a lot nicer. And that actually had a threefold thing. Number one, it took some of the stress off of the technician because, hey, less things that I got to type, less things that I got to do. I mean, we're seeing 20, 30, 40 patients in a day. I just need this to be as quick and efficient as possible. So it takes the stress off the tech. It takes the stress off the doctor because there's little that he's got to recheck on his stuff because he doesn't have to go in, page after page after page to make sure that his stuff was typed in correctly. And he just goes ahead and adds in his notes at the end. But the most important part is this third part here, where it takes the stress off of the person that's going to that clinic. I think nobody goes to the doctor because they're having fun. It's a good day, all right, I'm going to the doctor. Everything's all good. They're going because they have a problem. It could be as simple as I broke my pinky, or it could be as severe as I have stage 3 cancer. There's a small amount of fear with everything that happens, to your body. It's even if it's something that's small, is my pinky going to work, look normal, something like that, or and it states cancer. Am I going to beat this? Am I going to survive? You've got enough stuff that you've got to worry about. If something that I do helps alleviate that in just the micrometer of an amount, my job's done, and I know that that's a success. But overall, the whole thing, because I'm making it easy on everybody else and making it easy, on the patient, on the doctor, and on that, everybody wins in that entire situation. So that's why those packages were developed, and that's why I take such a personal interest in every one of my clients. That's why I'm picky when it comes to my clients. I want them to succeed because when they succeed, I succeed as well.
So you've got a couple different size like base packages, for small, medium, and larger organizations, but you have the ability to customize them. I mean, you look at every situation as unique and different, so you use that as a base starting point, and then you tailor things for your client depending on their specific needs. So you have a lot of flexibility in that regard. In principle, you're industry agnostic because you can help anyone. But certain things like the medical space and healthcare are particularly beneficial particularly benefit from your services because you're talking about a human life being involved, and there's so much technology that's being used in the hospitals today, and that all has to be network connected to the payment systems and the data records of the patient and all these other things. And so there's a lot more critical need to have that base layer run smoothly so you don't have any hiccups or issues with the health of the patient.
And also the fact now that, these cyber attacks that have been happening lately, how many hospitals have you heard lately that have been attacked? They've had ransomware, they've had this, they've had that, so my professor, when I was back in college for data sciences, he basically told me, he said, if somebody wants your data, they're going to get it. It's your job to make it as difficult as humanly possible. Do it. So that has always stuck with me. How do I make it difficult for that guy to get this particular piece of data? So, I sit there, and as you know, David, from our many things, I sit there and I spin through every single scenario that I can, and I come up with a solution. That solution, then I take and I bring to that particular, let's say it's a small clinic or a large hospital. I take it to the small clinic and I adapt it to the small clinic. I take it to the hospital, I adapt it to that hospital, and it comes in the form of software. It comes in the form of hardware. But the most important part that comes into effect is the education of the users. If you don't educate your user and you throw, hundreds and thousands of dollars into technology, but you don't tell your user, hey, the Prince of Nigeria is not sending you $1 million here. Don't click on that link. If you don't tell them to do that, they're going to do it anyway.
Yeah, and just in the broader picture, cybersecurity is such an important issue today, and it just illustrates the value of what you can provide, because that's just one component of the holistic services that you provide. So it's very comprehensive what you do, which is very important. So I know one of the things that we're kind of A/B testing right now, and we're trying to figure out is, trying to get you started and get some initial traction. We typically like to focus on as specific of a target customer as possible, and ones that would most benefit from your service. I know some of the challenges that we've had back and forth is that you can provide value to such a diverse group of business sizes and industries that I know we've kind of had a little bit of challenge with that. Can you maybe tell us, in terms of the leads that you've received to date and some of the phone calls that you've gotten for potential clients, tell us a little bit about how that's turned out. To what degree have they been, quality or not quality leads? Tell us a little more about that.
I've had way more quality leads with you guys than non-quality leads. So the ones that I've had have been with doctors' offices. They've been with lawyers' offices, mostly professional services. That's where our particular niche comes in handy most. Is for people that know their job inside and out, but they don't have the technical knowledge, nor do they have the time to find somebody that has that technical knowledge. You have an office coordinator and stuff like that, but unless your office coordinator is technically savvy, they're kind of just doing a crapshoot if they're hiring somebody. But if they see, somebody like us, and thanks to you guys, with the cybersecurity campaigns and helping us package the way we package our packages, that is a sentence, right? Well, grammar aside here, the way that you help put together our packages here, it makes it enticing. It makes it to the point where they want to call. Now, granted, a lot of people have been calling, and I understand that money is tight these days and stuff, but a lot of them understand that, this isn't a cheap thing. but it's not as expensive as you think when it comes into the long run, because you have to put the value into this. Peace of mind. My data is safe. Everything is working fine. And if something happens, I just call Nick or I call the ninjas and they're there. The other thing is the data is, like you said, the cybersecurity. Our data is safe. Nothing short of an atomic bomb is going to pretty much get in there. But the other thing that is like one of the more important parts is I'm working with somebody that I can trust. It's not some large corporation, like IBM Global Services, where you make a call and you get transferred to Pakistan, then you get transferred to Uzbekistan, then you get transferred back to Texas, then you get transferred to your local area. I'm here for you. I'm sitting in the same streets that you wander. I'm eating in the same restaurants that you eat in. I know what we do down here in Atlanta, but because I've also traveled, a lot, I know what happens in Chicago, where I'm from. And by the way, if anybody is seeing this, please send me a Portillo's. I could really use that right about now. Big beef dip, some fries, and the chocolate cake shake. That'd be fantastic. New York, once again, give me a slice, make sure I can get it folded over. I've been there, so I understand what a New Yorker is looking for. I understand what somebody in Chicago is looking for. I understand what everybody out there is looking for. And if I don't know, let's say you're out in Pig's-Knuckle, Arkansas. And there is actually a Pig's-Knuckle, Arkansas, believe it or not. If you're out in Pig's-Knuckle, Arkansas, and I don't know, I'm going to take it on myself, my money, to go wander your town for a little bit, take a look around as well. But I'm also going to be there to see you. I'm not going to go ahead and just do like we're doing right now, a quick little video, type of thing, because I need to know your market. I need to know who you're actually servicing. Because once I can see your town, and once I can see the way that you integrate with things, I can better tailor make my solution to you, because I have a firsthand experience now of that particular town.
I think the more obvious benefit that you provide is sort of like the insurance, like you're mitigating risk, and it's almost like purchasing an insurance policy when people work with you. But there's a more subtle benefit, and that is, to the extent that you can create a very efficient network that is, well organized and holistically can work together in an optimal way, you also make companies scalable, and there's an opportunity there. There's a profit opportunity. And I know that we're working with you now with a lot of trial and error. We're trying to figure out how do we balance these two messages? How do we create these messages in the marketing? I know we're still going through a lot of that right now. And your leads and your clients are, you're not selling candy bars. They're not going to make a snap decision in 5 seconds whether or not they want to engage in your service. It's a little bit of a process. You have to build a relationship and a rapport with these people. And we're still in the very, very early stages. But have you gotten any clients yet?
Right now, there's a couple of clients. I can't really go into detail here, just because I'd like to keep their anonymity until they say, yeah, go ahead, But I have had a couple of clients that have transitioned into my new company. I used to do, as I was doing the healthcare, I did a little bit here, did a little bit there for a couple of people on the side. And they now are like, well, crap, just because you're starting your own company doesn't mean that you can't still help us. They've been grandfathered automatically into there. So they're my clients, but unfortunately you didn't help, you didn't help on those guys. But they're some of my more vocal customers here. And if you take a look at the case studies on the webpage, you'll see one is a mental health provider in Woodstock, and the other one is a real estate appraiser out in Atlanta as well. They're two of my oldest clients, and they are some of my better clients. And I got to tell you, they're hell of great people. Jennifer is a whiz at what she does for mental health. I mean, she is from what I can see, and from the way that I can, from the way that I can see her, when we talk, I can tell that she cares about each and every one of her clients, and I can tell that she's fantastic at what she does. And then the real estate appraiser, he is a fantastic person, because he tells you what you need to know. He doesn't fluff it up. He doesn't go ahead and just be like, all right, yeah, this house was 450,000, but it was 450,000 because blah blah blah. This is 450,000. This is this. He gives it to you in the report. He doesn't sit there and build up this grandiose type of thing, which some appraisers do. And it feels like you're just getting a pitch or something like that. He's more down to earth. He's more straight shooter, but he's somebody that you can believe in, because when he talks very matter of factly, and he comes across as a very professional person.
Now, these, just to be clear, these are two clients that from your past, right? That you've helped. Yeah. Maybe can you, if I know it's a little bit complex, but if you can do it in less than 5 minutes, can you maybe, whichever one of those two use cases that was the simplest one, can you maybe just describe what you did for them?
For the mental health therapist, Jennifer, she needed to have HIPAA protection. She needed to have a way to be mobile if necessary, but still have a very secret, a very safe space for her data, and her clients. Now, sometimes due to either logistics or basically fear of going outside, she needed to actually have a secured video link to go, do what she does over the airwaves and stuff. And I was able to provide that for her using some technology. But if you sit there and you try and get into her systems, you're not going to be able to, because of the fact that I have built a firewall. I have told her, okay, you need to change your passwords all the time, but I've also given her instructions on how to remain HIPAA safe, but also through that, how to be a good network citizen and make sure that your data remains safe. So, and then, from there, she's asked me to help her with her intake forms and help kind of, just basically put her into a more safer spot as far as, like, for instance, collecting information through the website. How can I do that and still remain HIPAA safe? So I designed that form for her to be HIPAA. Now the other guy, he had an actual physical office with 3 to 4 employees. So I had to build a small little network firewall for him. But I also had to teach them how to use the network, how to use the firewall, how to basically utilize their email to do campaigns for cold emails and stuff very successfully. I had to, and I also had to go ahead and work with their particular line of business, which is a specific thing for real estate appraisers. I had to make sure that worked all the time. And if there was ever a question, I didn't know that software. I'd never heard of it before, that whole thing. So I had to become acquainted with it, drink from the fire hose, and be able to solve their problems. And if not, be able to work with their line of business and say, hey, they're having this. Oh, okay. So now, whenever they come with that thing again, I don't have to call in, because now I've got it in my notes and all that and take care of them. So, but also, again, I had to teach them how to be a proper network citizen. Change your password every 60 days. Make sure that you don't click something from an oil baron, saying, hey, I've got $2.8 million for you. And also, if it looks, basically I have a thing. If it looks weird, it is weird. So if I were to send you, David, an email and it said, David, I'm not in my office right now, but can you do me a favor and send me $1,000 in iTunes gift certificates? You'd look at me like I'm cross-eyed. Number one, I don't work for you. And number two, why am I asking for something in gift certificates? That just, and it's not even in my language. It's in scammer grammar and stuff like that. So it tells you, hey, take a second look, hover over that link, see where that link goes. Take a look at the actual thing. Is it Nick at 404ninjas.com, or is it XYZ LMNOP at .com? Coming from. So, that, because we've had conversations about that, that, this goes to the junk pile immediately.
Yeah, understood. So, yeah, it goes to show you there's a lot of nuanced considerations that people don't immediately think about when it comes to their overall network. So, so Nick, tell us your goals, your future plans for 404 Ninjas. Maybe you can give us maybe some thoughts about in the short term, what you're trying to do, and then maybe give us your long-term vision.
My long-term vision is to take over the world. Sorry. No, my long-term vision for the 404 Ninjas is to turn it into a franchise type of situation. I mean, this business is actually very easy to put into a franchisable thing, because once you get the basic nuts and bolts of it down, it is all just an adaptation. How do I adapt to this particular market? How do I adapt to this particular sector of business? We could have a sector of the 404 Ninjas that can just be specialized for medical or specialized for industrial, something like that. But my immediate goal is to basically, get some clients coming in, get that notification, get everything started, get that ball rolling. Then once after that happens, start doing what the other part of my company is, and that is enriching the actual town, the city where I live in, the place where I walk. How am I going to help the underprivileged school? Am I going to go ahead and teach them how to do cybersecurity stuff? Am I going to go ahead and teach them how to make a web page? Basically, what can I do? And not just me, what can anybody, my smart hands, my vice president, anybody, what can we do to help enrich where we live? Because that is the most important part about doing anything in this world, is if you can't leave the world a little bit better than you came in with it, you're not living life to your fullest, man. You're not living life to your fullest. So I want to be able to do that as well. And then I want to make sure that every single company that I work with knows about each and every other company that I work with. So there could be, a nice little internal network. So let's go ahead and say, David, and you needed an account, and I'm like, well, I work with Bob over here. Let me give you his card. Hey, I work with Tom. Let me give you his card. And I set up the introduction for you. That took me what, 2 seconds, 3 seconds out of my day? But you guys, and that now that you have me in common, you like me, you trust me, it eases that part for you. You're not going to have to sit there and do 15 hours, 16 hours, 17 hours research. That I work with the guys, and I don't work with, I don't work with people that are shady or anything like that, or, lower production, lower tier, So basically that's the other part of it as well. That's my immediacies and stuff. And then, once we get that ball and stuff rolling, and once we get all that, then we start looking into the final stages, which is how can we take this and replicate it out to every single place, either in the US or in the Southeast region, or wherever we can expand.
Love it. Yeah. So, immediate goal here is to get some clients, get some momentum, start building the client base to the point where you can start building a great community where all of your clients can network with each other and share their expertise with each other and help each other out. And then hopefully turn this ultimately into a franchise model. And that's, obviously one big opportunity for us to try to go out to investors and raise money for something like that, and turn this into a nationwide organization that ultimately has some benefit for society. So, Nick, I appreciate you taking the time to share a little bit about 404 Ninjas and introducing yourself. We're excited for you. We know we've got a lot of work to do, but you're making great traction. You're working really hard. You and Mario got a lot of great ideas. So we look forward to this continued partnership and to get you to that franchise model down the road. Where, if people want to reach out to you, how can they find 404 Ninjas, and how can they find you?
Well, they can find me if they take a look at the Atlanta area. I'm always around. Take a look for the shirt with the logo, but the other way to find me is to go to 404ninjas.com, or you can go ahead and just Google 404 Network Ninjas. It's the easiest way to go ahead and find me. Or, if you're on Facebook, again, look for 404 Network Ninjas or 404 Ninjas. Both of them will go to my Facebook page. Or if you're on Instagram, look for 404 Ninjas. Or if you're on X, look for 404 Ninjas. You see a little trend going on here. Wherever you go, wherever you look, the ninjas will always be there for you. You just have to find them through a quick search for 404 Ninjas, and that's it. That's the easiest way to find me. And if you take a look, like on the monitor that I have back there, the very top banner says get a free consultation. You click on that top banner, and you talk directly to me. You don't talk to my salespeople. You don't talk to anybody else. You're talking directly to me, and I'll make sure that you get the best. I'll make sure that you get the best of the best.
Oh, yep, big advantage. So 404 Ninjas, just remember that. So, well, thank you again, Nick. Appreciate your time, and thanks everyone for tuning in with us here for another Tech Room podcast. And we will see you again soon.